I'm Noah, a 38-year-old guy living in Chicago, and today I want to share a story that completely turned my life upside down. This isn't a tale about a fun night out or a romantic Hollywood love story. It's a story of betrayal words that cut like knives and a journey to rediscover myself. Imagine standing in a glamorous room wearing a $3,000 suit, feeling like you belong only to have the person you've loved for 5 years call you a roommate. That's exactly what happened to me, and it led to a decision that changed everything. Buckle up because this story will keep you glued to the screen. And I promise by the end of this video, you'll uncover a lesson you can apply to your own life. 5 years ago, I met Vanessa at a charity golf event in suburban Chicago. She was 36, working in pharmaceuticals with a smile that could melt anyone. We fell for each other fast. A year later, I moved into her luxurious downtown apartment. Um, we had big plans talking about weddings, naming future kids, even dreaming of a little house in Wisconsin. Everything seemed perfect, like we were building the American dream. I was a marketing director at a mid-sized company pulling in six figures, while Vanessa was a rising star in pharma. We split bills, traveled together, and I thought I'd found my life partner. But about 6 months ago, things started to shift. Vanessa got promoted to regional director, a big step up with a higher salary, more business trips, and a title she wore proudly. I supported her fully. I took on housework from cooking to cleaning, even helping with her presentations when deadlines loomed. But slowly I noticed Vanessa pulling away. She stopped posting our photos on Instagram. Pictures that once hung on our apartment walls disappeared. She started wearing expensive outfits, adopting a new makeup style, and when I complimented her, she'd say, "This is how people at my level dress." I felt like I was being pushed out of her world, but I told myself it was just work stress. Then came her company's annual gala, a lavish event everyone in Chicago wanted an invite to. At first, Vanessa said it was employees only. I found it odd, but didn't dwell on it. Then I overheard her on the phone talking about colleagues bringing their husbands or boyfriends. When I confronted her, we argued and she reluctantly agreed to let me come. I was thrilled. I spent $3,000 on an Armani suit to look sharp by her side. I wanted her to be proud of me. The gala was held at a posh downtown Chicago hotel. Open bar, five-star food, and a live orchestra. I felt like I fit in chatting with guests while Vanessa worked the room shaking hands with colleagues. Then her VP Graham approached, shook my hand, and said, "You must be the roommate Vanessa's mentioned." I stood there, champagne in hand, waiting for Vanessa to correct him. Surely she'd say, "No, this is my boyfriend, Noah. We've been together 5 years." But no. She smiled and said, "Yeah, Noah and I share an apartment. Super convenient for commuting." It felt like the floor collapsed beneath me. Roommate 5 years, shared apartment, shared dreams, and I was just a roommate. I kept my cool, but for the next 2 hours, Vanessa introduced me as her roommate to a dozen more people. Each time I felt smaller. When we got home, I couldn't hold back. 5 years together, and I'm just your roommate. Vanessa sighed like I was a child who didn't get it. Don't make a big deal out of it. It's professional, not personal. You don't understand office politics. I pushed back. We don't work together. Since when is being in a serious relationship unprofessional? She snapped Graham's old school. He values family and thinks workplace relationships are inappropriate. I couldn't believe it. Then she said the words that stopped me cold. Honestly, Noah, you should be grateful I'm still keeping you around. Most women in my position would have upgraded by now. Those words hit like a punch. 5 years of supporting her dreams, and I was something she kept around. I realized I had two choices: try to salvage this relationship or accept that I deserved better. I chose the latter. I looked at her calmly and said, "You're right. I haven't appreciated your success. I'm sorry." Vanessa seemed surprised, then smug, thinking I'd caved, but in my head a plan was forming. Plan. The next morning, Vanessa left early for a meeting, still wearing the diamond earrings I'd given her for our 4th anniversary. As soon as she was gone, I sprang into action. I photographed everything in the apartment, furniture I bought, the lease. I put a deposit on bank statements showing I paid 70% of the rent and bills. I called my bank, my lawyer, and my boss. By noon, I'd hired a moving company, paying extra for them to come the next day. By 3 p.m., half the apartment was empty. My desk, entertainment system, fridge, even my art collection gone. I left a note on the kitchen counter: "Good luck with the rent roommate." But the story doesn't end there. Stick with me because this is where things get wild. While I was at a hotel checking work emails, my phone rang. It was Graham, Vanessa's VP. He asked, "Are you and Vanessa still together?" Stunned. I asked how he got my number. He said I'd given him my card at the gala, telling him to call if he needed marketing advice. Then he dropped a bombshell. Vanessa hadn't just called me her roommate for months. She'd been openly involved with Charles, a guy from legal. They were cozy at company retreats, even sharing hotel rooms on business trips. Everyone at the company thought Vanessa and I had some arrangement. I felt betrayed twice, not only diminished, but used as a cover for her deception. I didn't just stop at moving out. I decided to cut all ties. I pulled my investment from our shared Wisconsin vacation home, forcing a lowball sale. I told our landlord I wouldn't renew the lease, leaving Vanessa to handle the rent. I called my cousin who worked in another department at Vanessa's company and shared the story, knowing gossip would spread. I even posted on Facebook about being excited to move in Chicago, tagging mutual friends. To ensure Vanessa saw the fallout, Vanessa faced an internal investigation for her undisclosed relationship with Charles. She was demoted, the vacation home sold at a loss, and she had to move to a smaller apartment in a worse neighborhood. But I want to share another story to show this doesn't just happen to me. My friend Mike in Seattle was once called a friend by his girlfriend at a company party. She claimed it was to keep things professional, but he later found out she was seeing a coworker. Mike didn't retaliate like I did. He just left and focused on his career. He told me the worst part wasn't her cheating. It was feeling invisible to someone I loved. I get that. With Vanessa, I wasn't just invisible. I was turned into a joke. 6 months later, I'm living in Chicago, working at a bigger company with triple the salary. I have new friends I'm dating again, and I'm building a life I'm proud of, but I can't stop thinking about what happened. When Vanessa showed up at my hotel before I moved, she begged me to help save her career. She cried, saying she didn't mean to hurt me. I'll admit, Part of me went too far. I didn't want to ruin her life, but anger blinded me. I learned that revenge feels powerful in the moment, but it doesn't heal the wounds. So what's the lesson here? It's not about how to win a breakup. It's about recognizing your worth. If someone makes you feel less than, don't wait for them to call you a roommate to act. Stand up, not with anger, but with confidence that you deserve respect. I'm still learning to forgive, not for Vanessa, but for myself, for letting myself become someone I didn't want to be. And that's why I'm sharing this story, to remind you that you're never just someone's roommate, you're the main character in your own story. The story doesn't stop there. Recently, I heard Vanessa's getting her life together. She's in therapy, rebuilding her career. She sent me a long apology email. No excuses. I appreciate it, but I didn't reply. Some chapters need to stay closed. As for me, I'm dating a lawyer in Chicago who isn't shy about calling me her boyfriend. Life's not perfect, but I'm regaining trust. And I want you watching this to ask yourself, am I being respected in my relationships? If not, do what I did not revenge, but walk away to find yourself again. I paused to catch my breath, feeling like I just ran a marathon, reliving the story. But this isn't the end. My story with Vanessa has more twists, and I promise what's coming will keep you hooked. Let's head back to Chicago, where I thought I was starting a new chapter, only to find the past doesn't let go so easily. What happens next isn't just about me or Vanessa. It's about how one decision can spark a chain of events you never see coming, like a stone rolling downhill, triggering an avalanche. After moving to Chicago, I thought I'd left Vanessa and her drama behind. I had a new apartment overlooking Lake Michigan, a dream job at a major company, and I'd started dating Claire, a smart lawyer who wasn't afraid to hold my hand in front of colleagues and say, "This is Noah, my boyfriend." Life seemed on track. But then one Friday evening, as I sipped wine in my new place, listening to my favorite jazz playlist, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered, and the voice on the other end made my heart skip. "Noah, it's Vanessa." I was floored. Vanessa hadn't called since her apology email, and I'd tried to block her from my mind. Her voice trembled, lacking the confidence of the ambitious director she once was. "I need to talk. Just 5 minutes, please." Part of me wanted to hang up, but curiosity or maybe stubbornness made me agree. She said she was in Chicago at a cafe a few blocks from my apartment. I don't want to meet in person, I said, keeping my voice steady. "Just say it over the phone." But Vanessa insisted, "Noah, there's something you need to know. It's not about us. It's about your company." Right then a chill ran down my spine. My company, what did she have to do with it? Reluctantly, I agreed to meet, but I chose a crowded downtown bar where I could leave if things got weird. When I walked in, Vanessa was in the corner, a far cry from the glamorous woman at last year's gala. Her hair was tied back messily, her thin coat unfit for Chicago's cold, and her eyes were red like she'd been crying. I sat down, keeping my distance, and cut to the chase. "What's going on, Vanessa?" She took a deep breath and said something that nearly knocked me off my chair. "Your company is working with mine, and I think they're using you to cover up a scandal." I blinked, trying to process uh, my company, marketing giant, had recently signed a deal with a pharmaceutical firm. Yes, Vanessa's company. I was part of the team developing an ad campaign for a new drug. But a scandal. What are you talking about? I asked, my voice tight. Vanessa explained that the drug, a new painkiller, was under investigation for serious side effects. Her company had hired mine for a flashy PR campaign to distract the public. They picked you because they knew you were connected to me, she said. They thought you wouldn't ask questions since you're trying to prove yourself after our mess. My blood boiled. What did she mean, connected to her? I'd left her life, and now she was saying our past was being used to manipulate me. I wanted to walk out, but Vanessa pressed on. I have proof, Noah. Internal emails, meeting recordings. I can show you, but you have to promise not to say I'm the source. I studied her searching for lies, but all I saw was desperation. Why are you doing this? I asked. You don't owe me anything. Vanessa looked down and whispered, because I was wrong to treat you like that. This is my way of making it right. I didn't know whether to trust her. Vanessa had lied to me, called me a roommate, and now she wanted me to believe she was helping, but I couldn't ignore the chance she was telling the truth. If my company was covering up a scandal, I could be complicit. I told her, send me the proof. If it's real, I'll look into it, but don't expect forgiveness. She nodded, and that night, an email hit my inbox with PDF files and an audio clip. I opened the first file, a chain of emails between Vanessa's company executives discussing maximizing positive awareness for the drug, despite side effect reports. One even mentioned me calling me ideal to lead the campaign due to personal motivations. The audio was worse. It was Charles Yes, the legal guy Vanessa hooked up with, saying in a meeting, Noah won't question anything. He's too busy proving himself after the Vanessa drama. It felt like a slap. Not only had Vanessa betrayed me, but her company was using my past like a chess piece. I didn't sleep that night. I paced my apartment wrestling with what to do. Ignoring it meant keeping my job and the life I built. Digging deeper risked losing everything: reputation, career, maybe even my faith in people. I decided to reach out to an old friend, Rachel, an investigative reporter at the Chicago Tribune. Rachel had helped me through dark days after the Vanessa breakup, and I knew she could handle this discreetly. I met Rachel at a small faux shop in Uptown where we could talk without being overheard. I showed her the files, told her everything from the gala to Vanessa's roommate label to this scandal. Rachel scanned the emails, listened to the audio, and gave me a serious look. Noah, this is huge. If it's true, it's not just Vanessa's company. Your company could be implicated too. Are you sure you want to pursue this? I took a deep breath. I don't have a choice, Rachel. I can't live knowing I helped cover this up. Rachel agreed to investigate, but warned it would take time to verify. Meanwhile, I had to act normal at work. Every day in the office was a test. I smiled in meetings, pitched the ad campaign, while my mind raced with those emails. I started noticing signs: my boss dodging questions about the drug's safety data, the PR team pushing emotional stories over facts. I felt like I was living two lives: successful, confident Noah at work, and secret Noah seeking justice. Then one morning, jogging along Lake Michigan, Rachel called, Noah, get to my office now. I found something. I raced to the Tribune's newsroom, heart pounding. Rachel laid out new documents not just from Vanessa's company, but from mine. A senior executive at my company had known about the drugs issues from the start, but took the contract for a massive payout. They banked on you, Noah, Rachel said. They thought you'd never figure it out because you were too focused on proving yourself. I felt betrayed again, not by Vanessa, but by the company I'd poured my heart into. I asked Rachel, what's next? She said she was close to publishing, but needed me as an anonymous source to confirm the documents. It was a tough call. Agreeing could cost me my job, maybe even a lawsuit. Staying silent meant living with guilt forever. I looked out the window at Chicago's glittering skyline and knew what I had to do. I said. For weeks, I worked secretly with Rachel, feeding her more info from internal meetings. I had to be careful. One slip could unravel everything. Then, one day at the office, my phone lit up with a Tribune alert. Exclusive pharma company and marketing partner conceal dangerous drug risks. The article named both companies, cited the emails and audio, and exposed their scheme to mislead the public. My office exploded. Colleagues whispered. My boss was called into an emergency meeting. I sat there feigning shock, but inside I knew I'd done the right thing. But the drama didn't stop. Vanessa called right after the article dropped. Noah, what did you do? She yelled. I gave you the evidence to protect yourself, not to destroy everything. I calmly replied, Vanessa, I didn't do this to hurt you. I did it for the people who could be harmed by that drug. She went silent, then said, I thought I could make things right with you. I was wrong. She hung up, and that was the last I heard from her. My company fired the implicated executive, and the ad campaign was scrapped. I kept my job, but knew I couldn't stay. I resigned, and months later, I started freelancing, helping nonprofits build transparent campaigns. Claire, my girlfriend, supported me fully. She said, You didn't just survive this drama, Noah. You turned it into something meaningful. Looking back, my story isn't just about being called a roommate or getting revenge on Vanessa. It's about facing moments that define who you are. I learned that sometimes you have to lose everything, relationships, jobs, even trust, to find your true strength. And if you're watching, I want you to ask, what's holding me back? Who or what makes me feel like I'm not enough? Stand up not to destroy, but to build a life where you're the center. I pause, my heart still racing from recounting what happened, but my story with Vanessa and the Chicago chaos doesn't end with Rachel's article or my decision to leave my company. What happens next is even crazier, as if the universe decided I hadn't been tested enough. Keep following me, because the twist coming up will leave you speechless, from secrets exposed to confrontations no one saw coming. This is where things get more intense than ever, and I promise you won't want to miss a second. After Rachel's article hit the Chicago Tribune, I thought I'd entered a new phase. I left my old company, started freelancing for nonprofits, and my relationship with Claire grew stronger. She wasn't just my girlfriend, she was my partner, always reminding me I was stronger than I thought. But the past has a way of haunting you, and in my case, it didn't just kick the door down. One Saturday afternoon, jogging along Lake Michigan, With Sweet Home Chicago by the Blues Brothers in my earbuds, I got a text from an unsaved number. Noah, we need to talk. Meet me at Lou Malnati's on State Street at 7 p.m. Don't tell anyone. No signature, but I knew instantly Charles, the legal guy from Vanessa's company, the other man in her betrayal. I stopped panting, not from the run, but from a surge of anger. What did Charles want after the gala? The drama, the article, why was he reaching out? I considered ignoring it, but curiosity or maybe pride wouldn't let me. I wanted to face him to hear what he had to say after wrecking my relationship. I replied, "Fine, I'll be there, but don't expect a friendly chat." I went home, showered, and threw on a navy button-up and jeans, casual but confident. Walking into Lou Malnati's, the smell of Chicago's iconic deep dish pizza filled the air, but I wasn't hungry. Charles was in a dim corner wearing a polo and glancing around like he was being watched. I sat down, skipped the handshake, and got to the point. "What do you want, Charles?" He took a deep breath and said something that nearly made me spill my water. "Noah, I'm not your enemy. Vanessa manipulated both of us." I scoffed, thinking this was a joke. "Manipulated? You slept with my girlfriend, Charles. Don't play the victim." But he shook his head and slid a small USB drive toward me. "Listen to this before you judge. Vanessa didn't just screw you over. She used me to climb higher in the company." I grabbed the USB, feeling its weight despite its size. Charles explained that Vanessa had planned for months to secure her position. She started a relationship with him not out of feelings, but because he had access to sensitive company documents that could help her land big deals. She told me you two were just roommates, that you were okay with an open relationship. Charles said, his voice bitter. "I believed her, Noah. It wasn't until you left and everything fell apart that I realized she played us both. I didn't want to trust him, but Charles's eyes didn't look like a liar's." He went on. "After the Tribune article, the company shipped me to a branch in Atlanta to calm the scandal. But I found this on my old work computer." He pointed to the USB. "It has emails and texts from Vanessa showing she deliberately called you her roommate at the gala. She wanted you to feel small so you wouldn't suspect her single and successful image." I went home, plugged the USB into my laptop, and what I saw made my stomach churn. There was an email Vanessa sent to a colleague before the gala. "Noah's coming, but I'll introduce him as my roommate. Need to keep a professional image and he won't make waves." Another text to Charles: "Don't worry about Noah. He's too smug about his job to notice anything." It felt like another knife in my back, but this time I wasn't just mad at Vanessa, I was mad at myself for not seeing through her sooner. But that wasn't the biggest shock. On the USB, I found an audio file, a recording of Vanessa talking to a senior executive, not Graham, but Diane, the company's strategy director. In it, Vanessa suggested leveraging the drug scandal to negotiate a raise and promotion. She said, "If we control the narrative, I can I can ensure positive PR. Noah at that marketing firm is predictable. He'll do anything to prove himself." I couldn't believe it. Vanessa didn't just deceive me and Charles. She planned to use me as a puppet in her scheme even after we split. I called Rachel immediately and sent her the USB's contents. "Noah, if this is real, it's not just a company scandal anymore," she said. "This is proof Vanessa deliberately manipulated a campaign for personal gain. She could face lawsuits, maybe jail, and I hesitated. Part of me wanted Vanessa to pay, but another part wondered, did I really want to push this far? I'd gone overboard once and it left me hollow, but Rachel was firm. This isn't just about you, Noah. The people taking that drug deserve the truth. While Rachel dug deeper, I got an unexpected email from Claire. She sent me a legal blog post revealing that Vanessa's company was facing a class action lawsuit from patients harmed by the painkiller. The post mentioned a senior employee, clearly Vanessa suspected, of hiding safety data to boost sales. Claire wrote, Noah, I know this is hard, but I think you need to face it. If she's involved, you could be a key witness. I felt like I was being pulled into a storm, but I knew Claire was right. I couldn't keep running. I met with a lawyer, Mark, a friend of Claire's who specialized in corporate lawsuits. Mark reviewed the USB files and said, Noah, you're holding a bomb. If you testify, you could help hundreds get justice, but you'll have to go public. Vanessa's company will do everything to smear you. I asked how he replied, they'll dig into your personal life breakup drama, anything to paint you as a bitter ex out for revenge. I thought back to the days when Vanessa's roommate label made me feel worthless. I didn't want to feel that again, but I couldn't stay silent. I agreed to testify on the condition my identity be protected as long as possible. For months, I worked with the lawsuit's legal team, providing emails, audio, and testimony about how Vanessa manipulated me and Charles. Meanwhile, Rachel published a second article, this time focusing on Vanessa's role in the scandal. It rocked Chicago. Vanessa was fired and her company faced millions in damages. But the biggest twist came when I got a handwritten letter, no sender listed, but I recognized the handwriting instantly. Vanessa. The letter was short, but each word pierced my heart. She wrote, Noah, I don't expect forgiveness, but I need you to know I wasn't always the person you saw. I got lost in ambition and lost myself. Thank you for exposing the truth, even if it ruined me. I'm trying to start over, and this time I want to live honestly. I read it over and over, unsure what to feel. Anger, pity, or just relief that I was finally free of her. But the story still wasn't over. One evening, as Claire and I dined at a small Italian restaurant in Wicker Park, Charles showed up out of nowhere. He wasn't there to start trouble. He came to thank me. Noah, I know you don't like me, but without you, I'd still be at that company, clueless while Vanessa pulled the strings. He said he'd left Atlanta and was working for a nonprofit helping drug victims. You changed my life, he said. I didn't know how to respond, so I just nodded and said, good luck, Charles. Keep doing the right thing. Sitting there watching Claire smile across the candlelight, I realized my story wasn't just about betrayal or revenge. It was about finding meaning in the worst moments. I know I'd lost Vanessa, my trust, almost myself, but I'd found the strength to stand up, not to destroy, but to build. And if you're still watching, I want you to remember life will throw shocks at you, lies, put downs, people who make you doubt your worth. But you're not anyone's roommate. You're the writer of your own story, and no one gets to take the pen from your hand. I stand there on the rooftop of the restaurant, Chicago's lights twinkling like a sea of stars below me. James's business card heavy in my pocket. His offer to dig deeper into the circle, a secret group manipulating the pharma industry, hangs in my mind like a dark cloud. Claire squeezes my hand, her eyes both worried and resolute. Noah, you don't have to do everything, she says, her voice soft but firm. You've already changed the game. Maybe it's time we enjoy the win. I smile, pull her close, and in that moment, I know she's right. I've fought Vanessa Diane Richard and a corrupt system. I've lost plenty trust innocence parts of me that thought I'd always be the dreamy guy in a 3,000 suit at the gala. But I've gained more Claire purpose and a version of myself I'm truly proud of. If you followed me this far through being called a roommate, threatening emails, USBs full of secrets, and sleepless nights of fear, I want you to know this story isn't just about me. It's about all of us who have been made to feel small, overlooked, or used as pawns in someone else's game. I turned down James's card, not out of fear, but because I realize sometimes winning isn't about defeating every enemy. Winning is knowing when to stop, when to choose yourself. My book, Not Just a Roommate, came out 6 months later. It's not just about Vanessa or the pharma scandal. It's about reclaiming your worth. It hit the New York Times bestseller list, and I started getting letters from readers across America, people sharing their own roommate moments and how they stood up to rewrite their stories. One letter from a girl in Ohio read, "Noah, I was in a relationship that made me feel invisible. Your story gave me the courage to leave and find myself." I read it at a Chicago book signing and cried, not from sadness, but because my pain had reached someone. Vanessa, from what I hear, is still in Seattle working for a nonprofit and living a quieter life. She hasn't reached out, and I don't expect her to. I'm not angry anymore. She's part of my story, but not the final chapter. Charles randomly emailed to congratulate me on the book. He's helping a nonprofit in Atlanta support pharma victims, and for the first time I replied, "Good luck, Charles. Keep doing the right thing." Rachel, my indispensable reporter friend, is now a renowned investigative journalist still chasing the circle, but she respects my choice to step back. "You did your part, Noah," she said. "Now it's my turn." As for Claire and me, we got married in a small ceremony at Millennium Park with the Cloudgate bean gleaming in the summer sun. Looking at her in her wedding dress, I knew every drama, every shock, every sleepless night was worth it to reach this moment. We moved to a little house in Evanston, just outside Chicago, where I still freelance and Claire continues her law career. We're planning to adopt a dog, and maybe someday a few kids will run around the yard. But here's what I want you to take away from this video. Life will try to define you through lies, put downs, or people who think you're just a roommate in their story. Don't let them. You're the author, the hero, the one who decides what the next chapter holds. I used to think my worth was in how Vanessa saw me or how my company valued me. Now I know it's here in my heart, in the choices I make, and in the people I love. I don't know if the circle will ever be fully exposed or if people like Richard Caldwell will pay the full price. But I know I did what I could and I found peace. So, stand up. Not for revenge, not to prove anything, but to live a life where you can look in the mirror and say, "This is me and I'm enough." Thanks for being here, for hearing my story. Share yours in the comments. How have you had to stand up? And if you found this story worthwhile, hit that subscribe button. I'm Noah, and I'm no one's roommate anymore. I'm me, and that's enough.